yesterday, so... Yep, here we go. When we last left you, you were hobnobbing at the Underworld Center. So, now that we are a thug of the third-class variety, we can go into the refrigerator. You start to walk into the thug's lounge, but the thug looks at you with big, dark, glassy eyes and roots you to the spot.
I ain't seen your license yet, cupcake.
Read it and weep.
You play your trump card and thrust the license into the thug's face. He grabs your wrist and pulls your arm back so he can focus on the license. His brain slowly absorbs its meaning very much in the same manner that a solid block of brass soaks up water and lets go of your wrist.
That's good enough.
Taking offense at the undeserved rough treatment you received, you don't mince words with him.
You darn tootin' it is.
You march triumphantly into the thug's lounge. You can almost hear crowds roaring into the theme from Chariots of Fire. So, we have 2 kidneys here. So we're going to look at them. Looks like a human kidney with a maze of twisty little veins all alike. The refrigerator door slams closed. The thug in the bar casts a suspicious eye at you, which sails past you and goes rolling onto the floor. And then the poor eyeball rolls out the door. The thug immediately walks opens the fridge, sees 2 kidneys just as he remembers it. He turns to look at you again, his face twisted with confusion since he doesn't understand what's going on, but after a moment of deliberation, shrugs and goes back to his loafing. So we gotta shake these, because we're trying to find one that's got something in it. You pick up the bottled kidney and shake it. It sloshes merrily, little bits of kidney floating around the murk. Carefully you replace the bottle back on the shelf. Then it gets slammed again.
I'm sorry, sir. There's... Yes. Thank you. Can you spell Nunzio for me? Very good, sir. Thank you.
Cool. So let's shake this one. You shake it, it sloshes and clinks merrily, little bits of kidney floating around. Carefully. Yep, and then it slams shut again. So now we know we need the right one. But we need to do a little switcheroo. So we're going to push open the door. Hey, buddy. I'm going to talk to you. Just
talk to me.
I want to know what makes you tick.
Oh, sorry, that's Strontium 90. Bad scene that day. That's the last time I take one of those power plant tours.
No,
Yoicks.
I don't have a Geiger counter. I was asking about you. What business are you in?
I'm a psychologist.
Get out of here.
What, is that funny to you? You don't believe me? Oh, that's right, I gotta remember, back in your days, psychology was a white-collar thing. Very uppity and vague, and everyone with their own theories. It's a lot more straightforward now.
Really?
Do you always transact business in alleys?
Don't speak not of what you don't know, okay? Today's a special occasion. I nearly got off. So while my office gets a new window, I'm dispossessed.
So the car is where he does all these things.
Why'd you take Voyatrazine?
Gotta stay competitive. My competitors can read my mind. They got a big leg up on me, pardon the expression.
Also means that, they can't lie to you or all that business.
Ah, if it isn't the shakiest thug in the West.
That's
Forgive me, I'm basically a nice person.
Then get out of that line of work. If I'm going to put my life into someone's hands, I'd like them to at least be competent.
Oh.
I'm a little afraid to say this, but I'm hungry.
Well, we have some leftovers from lunch if you'd like something. Suppose it doesn't hurt to keep your wheels greased. If I recall, we have some salmon croquettes, some haggis, some snake and kidney pie. And for dessert, we have several flavors of gigolo and some very nice crème brûlée.
Ooh. I think we'll go with the
Make
kidney
mine
pie.
skank and kidney pie, please.
An
Skank.
interesting choice, sir.
Perry disappears into the restaurant for a moment and comes out with a jar containing a kidney.
I was mistaken. We have a leftover kidney, but the chef says we are not going to cut up our 20-foot anaconda just for one slice of pie.
Duh. He hands you the jar to you. It has a very human-looking kidney floating in
Is
it.
this a human kidney?
What do you care? It's free.
If it's all the same to you, maybe I'll have this later.
That's
No.
what I figured, so I put it into a to-go jar.
Oh, good. So we do have it. Excellent. Where's the door? This is the place. Hello, Tortoise. How are you today? We're about to get a kidney. Hang on, let's try that again. Take this kidney. You take the kidney and under the cover of the open fridge, slip it into your shirt, cleverly putting the one that Perry gave you in its place. Whose kidney? The guy from out back. You stroll nonchalantly out of the thug's lounge. The thug of the bar watches you with curiosity and immediately opens the fridge. He's definitely taken aback when he sees 2 kidneys, but then he thinks you must be using the same tactics they use. He sits down and you emerge victorious. Oh, it's Ratsaz's. It's this dude's kidney. He wanted it back. He takes the kidney and shakes it.
So far, so good.
He opens the jar and dumps the kidney into his hand. Turning it over, he checks the serial number engraved on the bottom.
All right, nice going, Ace.
He plops the kidney back in the jar and wipes his hand off in the back of his pants. The goo beads up and runs off.
So here's what you want to know. The code for Dr. Duplicitus's elevator is 382-582-532. Here's how you remember it. Muffin, love, and lemon. Just remember muffin, love, and lemon.
How does that help me remember anything?
It's easy. 2 is N. 3 is M. 5 is L. 8 is F or V. Ignore the vowels. So you have...
You take your pencil and write the number on the back of the recipe. Thank you.
Wait, why
Don't
did you read
mention
that part
it.
out?
No, don't kid him about his hair. He's very sensitive.
I wouldn't have anyway.
Cool. It's just weird that there's a couple of lines that he didn't voice that, are in character, and then that was clearly narrator. You punch the code Ratzaz gave you onto the keypad and you hear the elevator whir to life. When the elevator arrives, you swagger into it and turn to see the thug gaping at you. The doors close and the elevator begins to ascend automatically. After a minute, it stops and disgorges you into the laboratory. In the center of this clean, busy laboratory is a tank large enough to 3 or 4 people, or if engineered by Squish's race, maybe part of your foot. The room is humming with activity, with all manner of mysterious chemical reactions, computations, preservations, and experiments going on. Everyone is too busy to notice the arrival of you and your thought patterns. A man who looks like a Cecil stands to you, stands working in front of a control panel. The elevator door closes.
I'm working.
Pardon me, I'm looking for the doctor.
The doctor is tanking.
Pardon me?
He's in the think tank. That little honey right over there.
Oh, I see, thank you. He gestures towards the Le Biochambre 4000 in front of him.
What are you working on?
I'm maintaining the precise balance of environmental variables for optimal theta brainwave state, or any other state desired.
And what's everyone else working on?
Better living through chemistry.
Cool.
I have a friend who's having a critical reaction to voyatrazine. I'm looking for an antidote.
That's too bad. There's no such chemical.
I've been told there's no Dr. Duplicitus either.
Cecil clenches his jaw, but refuses to respond.
Thanks for all the info.
He returns back to his work. Okay, so Le Biochambre, that's where he is. We'll look at it at least.
What is this?
That's on a need-to-know basis only. So tell me you're a criminal mastermind so I can tell you about this. It's a very exciting piece of machinery, very powerful, very, very exciting technology here, but it's very secret, and up till now has only been available to a precious few. Say you're a criminal mastermind. Say it.
I'm a criminal mastermind.
Terrific. We call this Le Biochambre 4000, the state-of-the-art solution for twisted geniuses like you, who may just not be feeling as diabolical as you used to. Maybe you let yourself go. Maybe you're just exhausted. There's a million ways it can happen. But with Le Biochambre, you can achieve the perfect atmosphere for villainous thought. The kind masterminds need to keep pulling off crimes of the century. It's this easy. You program in any set of audio, nasal, and ambient tactual environmental variables. Then you push the button and voila, what we call the complete Biochambre experience.
Does it have any visual capabilities?
Does it have any visual? Look, we don't call this the greatest little isolation tank ever made for nothing. It projects a non-interactive, composited holographic 360-degree image around the inner lenticular circumference, simulating any environment, any time period, anywhere in your home. And you can get the sensation of moving through the world with on-the-fly, fully digital scene regeneration. None of that rendered crap. You can also select from an infinite variety of weather conditions. Barometric, hydrostatic, gravitational. Hey, it's all there. And even my 10-year-old daughter at home can use it. Isn't that incredible? What would you pay for something like this?
I don't think I could afford it.
And if that wasn't enough, listen to this. Every smell currently cataloged by the NSB is reproduced in seconds with a continuous online automated time-slicing microlab capable of producing up to 12 complex smells simultaneously. Now,
Ugh.
how much would you pay?
Not much.
Interested.
Of course you're not, if that was all. Order one of these now, and we'll include 2 bottles of La Biochambre 4000 SF polish, specially formulated to keep your La Biochambre looking clean and high-tech. 2 free bottles. Okay, 3 free bottles. Let me tell you the number to call.
I appreciate it, but this was more information than I needed. A lot more.
Too much more. So you somehow manage to detach yourself from the exuberant research salesman and edge away. Realizing he's not about to close a quick sale, he turns his attention back to the control console. So we've got an organism in a drum. See what happens when you overuse the sea monkey's growth hormones that come in one of those tiny packets? You open the bottle and the mutant sea monkey climbs out. First, he grabs a flashlight, which makes you follow it around the room like a circus act. Then he sprinkles food on you and watches you eat. Then he gives you something to make you glow in the dark. When he's tired of you, he flushes you down the toilet. Wow, what a nightmare! Don't stand so close to the bottle. You're breathing in too many fumes. You don't like sea monkeys. You could never resist telling them they're only brine shrimp and that destroys their happy-go-lucky self-image. We've got some other people here. It's an assistant. The assistant ignores you. It's also an assistant. And he also ignores me. Oh. This looks like something you'd see in a carnival sideshow, or maybe in a hospital cafeteria. The blobus quivers as you approach the tank. You back away from the tank, quivering a little yourself. The last time you played Hide the Bolus was in grade school. It's not nearly as much fun that you're grown up. Oh, hi. This guy also ignores me, even though he was smiling at me. Anyway, so what we need to do is we need to convince him that he should let us at it. You turn on the beanie on and aim it at Cecil. In his eyes, you see the beanie's lights strobing and
What do you
sparkling.
think you're doing?
Hypnotizing you.
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
I want you to focus on my voice.
Yes?
You are
Yes.
now hypnotized.
Yes?
You are familiar with hypnosis. You already know that
Yes.
just because you're under hypnosis, I can't make you do or say anything that you don't want to.
Yes.
Well, I want you to forget that you know that.
Okay.
Oh boy,
Yes.
Listen to me carefully. I want you to open the biochamber door.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can. As I count to 3, you will find yourself more and more willing to open the biochamber door. 1. You are beginning to feel confident that you can open the biochamber door. 2. You're picturing the biochamber door open, what it will be like when you get through opening it. 3. You are now completely able to open the biochamber.
No, I'm not.
Why do you think you can't?
The doctor left very strict orders. I'm afraid he would kill me if I opened the door.
That is strict.
very strict. How about you just stand there quietly?
Stand there very quietly. Don't get in my way and don't make any noise.
He obeys your request flawlessly. Cool, then I get to use this. With Cecil's suggestibility turned up to full and his will turned down to minimum, his putty in your hands, you walk right past him and take control of Le Bar Chamber for 1,000. Judging from the lack of response, you haven't done anything to it. Alright, let's try that again. Okay. It is in this particular order. What if it's just like from red to the other way? So what if I do the la? Aha! As Le Bar Chamber door opens, scissors open, a man steps out. Here he comes. Oh, demissed, yes. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Oh, not what I was expecting him to be dressed as, but
You
you know.
interrupted me.
Yes.
You are Jake Stonebender, and oh, you've come a long way for nothing. And the sniveling little two-bit thief who provided you with my elevator code is going to be a very sorry little man.
Oh, rude.
What should I do with you, Jake Stonebender?
Oh, you're Dr. Duplicitous? I must have the wrong one.
You're scared.
Nah.
I like that in a toady.
Let's talk to him again.
What should I do with you, Jake Stonebender?
I have great admiration for you, and I bow to your vast intellect and generosity.
Why would you try to lie to me of all people? Isn't that a silly thing to do?
A silly thing.
I thought I'd get points for being cute.
Do you know how I came to invent voyatrazine?
To impress the chicks?
Hardly. For the girls, I invented a drug called mypexagolden. Manipulated pheromones to make me seem 100 times more masculine than anyone else alive.
By accident?
By accident. Like all great inventions?
Don't be silly. Although I did inadvertently develop a drug to make myself more resistant to humiliation, I now market it under the name Embarrassine.
To keep from having to do real work?
That's funny. To avoid real work. Do you know how hard I work? The only thing I ever invented to help save me work was a drug that compelled others to work for me. I can't do it all.
What drug is that?
I just said, I can't do it all.
Ha!
To keep the grant money coming in.
Oh, right. But I still had a greater purpose. Do you know what I wanted to destroy?
Society as a whole.
No, and not as a lot of little pieces either. No, I was trying to bring an end to hypocrisy. Surrounded by yes men. There is no greater waste of space than a person who can only parrot back my own words and tell me what he thinks I want to hear.
Oh man, imagine Donald Trump on this.
Tell me what I want to hear. I don't need somebody else to say it for me. Sycophants. I thought I would be doing away with deception. But it hasn't stopped at all. It's the same behavior on an entirely new level.
Maybe you can't push it on people before they're ready. I think it's a worthy goal. You try to take a shortcut.
Don't patronize me, Stonebender. I'm not in the mood.
Ooh.
I don't want to play anymore.
Don't leave yet, Mr. Stonebender. I haven't figured out how to take best advantage of you. I'm not comfortable allowing you to leave. You represent an ethic that has more or less ceased to be here. Allowing you in the organization, or even in this time period at all, would be disruptive. You'd infect the society like a computer virus.
Oh, God, I wish Noah were here to hear you say that.
So, I'm left wondering, do I just harvest you? Lobotomize you? Take your time machine and see what I can do with it? I don't even think it's safe to let you go back home. Too much advanced publicity would probably not be beneficial. It's an interesting dilemma I find myself in.
Cool.
What do you mean, what you're going to do with me?
I'm not comfortable allowing you to leave. You represent an ethic that has more or less ceased.
You said this.
God,
So
I'll make a deal with you. Are you listening?
I didn't get to where I am by ignoring deals out of hand. What exactly do you have in mind?
I don't have much, but if you give me an antidote for voyatrazine for Al, and let me go back and give it to him, you can take his time sled. I'm sure he'd rather get out of this with his life than not at all.
First of all, I could have your time sled in a moment if I wanted it. And I do. But there's no such drug as the one you're looking for. So I'm afraid we don't have a deal.
Interesting he says that, because I'm pretty sure... was it this one or is it the other one? Maybe it's this one. This board's built in. Okay. One of these boards from memory moves around. Oh, it has to be that one. So maybe I was just on the wrong hotspot for it. Unless it's this one, maybe. Aha! Ah, so whatever Veracrosine neutralizer is, it sounds exactly what you're looking for, but what's P3? Thought you said you didn't have nothing, mate.
What should I do with...
Let's talk. I want.
Oh, it takes a good deal of P3 to make the neutralizer, and I have none to spare. Although
Although what?
I could take some from you. That would work. I like that.
What's P3?
Only one of the most important physiological finds of the last 500 years.
Ugh. I already don't like it.
P3 is a hyaline fluid exuded by the system in response to pain.
Like adrenaline?
No. Adrenaline is non-specific to a variety of stressors, most of which are physical. But P3 is only released in times of intense emotional or psychological pain.
Yikes.
It shows up in every fluid in the human body in minute quantities. It's a black bile. It's pure yang.
Ew.
And it's the primary component of the voyatrazine neutralizer. So let me suggest this. I will extract P3 from you. Should you give me enough for my purposes, I will give you some neutralizer for your friend.
Excellent.
Provided you survive the extraction process.
I'm sure everything will be fine.
And the process is.
I can't describe it, and personally, I've only performed the procedure. I've never actually undergone it. I like to visualize it as a squeezing of the brain, although no
Squeezing
actual
the
physical
juice.
contact is involved, other than drawing off the P3. The greatest quantity of P3 is released into the circulatory and endocrine systems. I like to tap it off at the superior vena cava. That's also a source of some discomfort.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Fine. Let's get started. Stand right here.
Uh-huh.
John, would you administer the pre-wash?
Suddenly you feel a prick behind you. And he's got a hypodermic! He jabs it into your arm and the world spins first around the x-axis, then around the y-axis, just as it's getting back to the z-axis. Everything goes black. When you come to, the first thing you notice is the coldness. The room is cold, and your back is against something cold, and you realize you're lying naked and lying on a metal table. Funny how danger is supposed to be romantic, though from the shrinking sensation you have below, you're not finding it the least bit erotic. As you...
I'm glad to see you're awake.
I was reading that.
It's always better when they start off aware of what's happening.
I was reading that,
You
so...
know, in my line of work, I meet a lot of very deluded, very sick people. But nobody with quite your brand of lunacy.
Am I a lunatic?
Yes. You believe that we're in the future.
Well,
Not
yeah.
exactly. You're the one. This is your present. I'm visiting. Just to help Alfie.
Yes, that's what you said. But I don't remember Alfie thinking he's from the past.
Well, he's not.
He comes back.
Right, in a time machine, the same one that got you here. Is that right?
Yes. Where's my stuff?
I took the liberty of lightening your load. You had some things that did not belong to you. Rubber bands are quite valuable these days. We shouldn't have had one out in the open.
This is true.
The rest of your belongings are right here. If you survive, they'll be returned to you.
And I get the antidote, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that I think of it, I do remember him saying something about the past, and I remember being somewhat in doubt as to his state of sanity. But he had cash, so I decided, why be judgmental?
Oh, how
If you can read my
magnanimous of you.
mind, you know I'm not making it up.
If you are delusional, then what I see through your eyes would be a delusion as well. But
I see.
down to business. Now, I'm going to reach down and scour those billions of memories and nightmares of yours in search of the blackest, vilest little nuggets of fear I can find. The things buried so deeply that you don't even talk to yourself about them.
Oh.
I envision it as being inside of your mind and being surrounded by the traumas and bruises and cuts. Most of them look healed over. But when I take my fingernails and rake them over the scabs to find the ones that really haven't healed at all, the cysts hidden behind them, that's what I'm looking for. I have to pop them, drain the bile from them.
Stop describing it and let's get it over with.
Oh, but the foreplay can be so much fun. But then again, quickies are nice too sometimes.
Well, I got something for you, sir. You start to feel uneven pressure on your brain as if he's trying to sink his fingers into it. Here's an old photo. He stops his brain reading process long enough to take the photo from your pile of stuff.
This? What about it?
The one I don't like to talk to myself about. The one I can't forgive myself for. The one that won't go away.
Ah, I knew you had something like that. I'll see what I can pull out about it.
Well, what if I just told you?
We can certainly try that. But if this is a delaying tactic, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, I love how he
No,
said
this
that.
is the real stuff.
Then by all means, tell me about it.
I had a family. This was a long time ago. This was 1970.
That is a long time ago.
My wife, Barbara. We had a daughter, Jessica, who was just a toddler at the time. She was the most perfect child. I mean, she was an angel. She never stopped smiling. We used to tell her, "Come on, cheer up," and then she would laugh. I was making a good living singing and playing, believe it or not, and Barbara was teaching part-time. And it was too good to be true, I guess, too good to last. I must have been out of my mind. I tried to fix. I thought I fixed the brakes on our car. I replaced the front brakes myself. Jake Stonebender, master mechanic, right? We were going to a movie, and we were on our way, and we were at an intersection. There was a truck coming from the left, and I slammed on my homemade brakes.
There was a woman coming home from choir practice. She
they
never made it
failed.
there.
We hit the tractor trailer. I was only going a few miles over the speed limit. I had the brakes on, but they gave out. The engine block came right on through the dashboard, right between me and Barbara and Jessica, and they were on fire. I wasn't, but they were. We were all trapped, and they burned to death right beside me. I was hardly hurt, and I killed my wife and my baby girl. They had to cut us out of the car with chainsaws. I was sitting beside them, and they were so dead. I kept begging them to move. I started screaming at them finally, but they were so dead. I could see their faces, the expressions they were wearing when they burned. That was the last way they looked. I still see it. I see it so much I forget what it is I'm looking at. They were cutting me out, and when the chainsaw came near me, I thought, how can I live with this? So I climbed out the window and put my wrists up to the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Why didn't you kill yourself?
I mean, that
I
was
tried.
fair.
The guy knocked me out.
Why didn't you try again?
I did. The doctor that saved my life also saved my soul. He took me to a bar, and I guess I learned to want to live again. I'm not sure how.
That was wonderful. And just look at that bottle. Jake Stonebender, I am delighted with you. You are a mess.
Wow, thanks.
And I am going to keep my end of the bargain. Perhaps in a few years I'll pay you another visit. I'm sure you'll have a lot more for me by then.
Oh, wow, thanks. Dr. Duplicitous, a cruel but fair man, unstraps you and removes the extractor from your chest. He hands you a small vial of vitrocine neutralizer, almost giddy with glee. He removes the bottle of P3 drained from your psyche and puts it in the laboratory freezer. You collect your belongings and the doctor follows you down to the time slot in the alley behind. You set the controls to return to Callahan's, put in the next code number, throw the lever, and take another gut-twisting ride that twirls the world around you like a pinwheel. The next thing you know, you're on the roof. The doctor stays in the sled, but you climb out.
Have you any idea what sort of a repository of misery and despair the history of mankind holds for me? How much P3 I can refine from hundreds of generations of frightened, lonely people? You, more than most, should appreciate its power. Look at what it's done for you half your life. Look at how you survived.
I think I survived in spite of my pain.
Then maybe you should think about it a little longer. In the meantime, I'm going to pay a visit to the Spanish Inquisition. The church should never have left the torture business.
He sets the date. He sets the date as he saw you do. You pull the recipe halfway out of your pocket, and then
What's
you stop
that?
and think about it. He snatches it out of your pocket and reads it.
What's this? You wanted to give me your recipe?
No,
He throws the recipe back at you and pulls the handle on the time sled.
I prefer to eat out. So
Ew.
long, Stonebender. Bye-bye.
Bye. Whee! You race down the ladder.
When are you gonna leave already? You wait too long, Alfie's gonna wake up again.
You hold up the neutralizer.
got what I was looking for.
You pour the little vial down Alfie's throat. A few moments later, he splutters and wakes. Sputters and wakes.
That tastes terrible. What was that anyway?
Notice anything different?
The voices. You did it.
He throws his arms around you.
A thank you will suffice.
How can I ever repay you?
You already paid.
I did?
I had to bargain a little with your friend Dr. Duplicitous. You got the cure. You got the time sled.
He what? But how could you do that?
I didn't think you had a choice.
That's not the point. A man like him with a time sled? I'm a little irresponsible. He'll destroy the world.
I wouldn't worry too much. He didn't like your recipe.
You hand him the beanie and the recipe. Something about the Spanish Inquisition. Piotr begins to say he wouldn't have expected the Spanish Inquisition, but do so about some other. Bleh. But so do 6 other people.
Once he gets out of the sled, he can't start it up again.
Unless he wants to try the 10 billion combinations it'd take to find the right one.
Gonna tell us what happened, Jake?
You wait a few moments before responding to Fast Eddie's request.
I don't think so. I'm gonna have to think about it myself for a while.
Fast Eddie pulls out a blackjack, offers it to you, but you decline. You're not into the pain thing right now. Look, it's a bat! Oh, he's got a friend.
What's up?
Think I ought to go home and call it a night.
And I thought you were a party animal.
I resent that. But I've been through a busy night.
So have I, but you don't see me wimping out early.
Yeah,
Huh.
but you're nocturnal.
I'll be happy to take you home.
Would you? I think I'm okay to drive, but it doesn't hurt to be careful.
I would insist.
Petra stands up, you make your goodbyes, and the two of you walk out into the night. Do you really want to go home for the evening? Shortly. I might as well talk to everyone
Hey,
first.
Jake.
What's going on?
Nothing. It's been real quiet. Want to grab Lady Macbeth and liven up the joint?
Maybe later, okay?
Okay.
Did you miss me?
Did you go somewhere?
Never mind.
I mean, yeah, you did go somewhere. Dr. Squish.
Hi there. I know a guy who details shuttles. He could make your rig look 1,000 times better.
At some unspecified future date, I will show you my shuttle. At that time, you will be able to decide whether or not it requires detailing.
Right.
Does he do pinstriping?
Naturally.
No digestive waste product? Coitus A.
What? Yeah. Here's the stranger.
Yes, Jake.
Hey, I told you some stuff would happen tonight.
You were right. This is most amusing, and I'm really enjoying learning your language, you know?
You're doing very well.
That is exactly correct. I am doing very well.
You're doing precisely as you need to be doing. These are all just bar people. Long drink McGonagall. Long drink casts you a look of bemused desperation. You've seen this book before. It means, God, this is the long joke I'm listening to. I hope it ends soon. This happens every time Mary wants to try out new material. Shorty apparently is trying to concentrate since the man has had a tough time staying focused. Don't screw him up. Might as well talk to Alfie.
How can I thank you?
By keeping your nose out of trouble, you varmint.
I wasn't looking for trouble. Trouble found me.
Get real. Now, I'm not an expert because I keep my nose clean, although in 100 years or so, I'm going to be a member in good standing of organized crime. Now, I'm not an expert on this because I usually keep my nose pretty clean, but it seems to me that when you get involved with a criminal mastermind who's trying to enslave the world through mind control, you can expect a little bit of trouble.
Don't inflict your pessimism on me, Jake Stonebender. I was the victim here. Dr. Duplicitus didn't tell me about the possible side effects.
It's a good thing. Otherwise, you'd have sold that garbage to a lot of other people, then you'd be responsible for their deaths. And you don't have an antidote to offer them.
All the pills were hidden in the time sled. Wherever the doctor is now, he's got them.
That should make for an interesting inquisition.
Eh.
Hi, Jake.
Here's a scoop for you. Time travel is alive and well and living in modern-day Transylvania.
You're kidding.
Nope. That's how I got back here so quickly. There's a little five and dime in Transylvania called Weirworth's. And they have this little time machine that actually looks 50 years old.
It's a lot older than that.
Do they use it?
I don't think so. It was full of cobwebs, wasn't even plugged in.
It plugs in? What happens if you go back to a time before electricity?
That's why we don't use it.
Ah, very good. Very true.
Doc, unless your tastes change dramatically, you're gonna have to curb your appetite in the future.
Why's that?
Well, they make a lot of people food.
I should hope so.
No. I mean it's food. But it's also people.
People who eat people.
Are the luckiest people?
What's up?
How's Sally?
Lady Sally is Mike's wife, proprietress of a house of thrill repute in Brooklyn, a no less remarkable establishment that shares a lot both in spirit and clientele with Callahan's.
She asked about you the other day.
Really?
Yep. Hadn't seen you in the place in a while. Wanted to know if you'd met somebody.
Normally you could be counted on to turn red around the neck, but after all, the guy's wife owns the place.
Tell her not to worry, it's business, not pleasure. I mean, it's a lack of business, and therefore a lack of pleasure.
It happens, it happens.
Hey, Captain.
You didn't happen to bring back any extra samples of testosterone, did you?
Why?
As a souvenir?
Try again, buddy boy. I asked him the same thing a while ago. I wanted to try making a highball with it.
Ew. Yuck. Joe scribbles a quick "Hiya, Jake" on a pad and flashes at you. You often feel bad for having to make Joe write so much. He has a great many speaking friends, but almost none of them know Aslan or American Sign Language. While you do know the alphabet and a few dozen signs, you don't know nearly enough to follow Joe when he's conversing with other signers, and you can tell he dislikes having to sign slowly as you need him to. Sometimes when you see him, the two of you practice, but he's clearly too anxious to take the time right now.
Calm down, bud. What's the problem?
Ralph's been kidnapped!
Are you serious?
Joe nods his head energetically. They took him to the Catskills.
Who's they?
4 guys who took him with suits, but I think I saw MPs at Mountain Facility.
Didn't they identify themselves or say anything when they took him?
Told people at Pet Shop they were CIA.
Were they arresting him?
No, probably didn't think they needed to read rights to a doc, didn't volunteer any info.
You mean they forced him to go on vacation?
He grimaces at you and rolls his eyes. Dead serious, government probably. Followed them to edge of Catskills Mountains.
When did this happen?
3, maybe 4 hours ago, maybe followed Ralph, then stopped at Covert Operations World and picked up some toys.
You must be dead on your feet.
No, picked up some espresso Slurpee-like drink at Samuel T. Bean's Better's Colossal Coffee Company and All-American Roastorium.
You could have just said a coffee place.
Sorry, coffee place.
Where exactly is he?
Don't know the name of it. Mountain with fence, guards, etc. Huge metal door built in.
Did you get anyone's attention?
No, I don't think it was a good idea. Wanted reinforcements, and someone else wanted to drive for a change.
Well, you were right about the trained cockroaches and the CIA, so I have to believe you now.
Jake, how about it?
Guess I'm just a guy who can't say no.
Be sure.
What the hell? I've been running around the world getting people angry at me. Really, if I should be fighting with anybody, it's the government.
Great, let's go!
I better let people know where we're going in case we don't come back. Meet me outside.
Joe looks panic-stricken at your delay, but hangs back to wait for you to leave.
Jake, head...
All right.
Take your time. I'm sure they don't do vivisections this time of night, do you think?
I like it was like, I'll let people know that we're going, and then it's like the first person I spoke to is like, shouldn't you be going?
Wanna come on a little espionage mission with Joe and me?
You're a glutton, ain't you? Well, I'm staying here for the evening. I did my bit for mankind already tonight.
Yeah, but what have you done for dogkind?
Hey, if you two don't think you can handle it alone...
We can handle it. I just thought you might enjoy it, that's all.
Breaking into government bases isn't my idea of a good time. It's a good way to get yourself killed.
You got a better idea?
Noah thinks for a couple of seconds and then shakes his head. Pietro, you got anything?
What's up?
How would you like to come with Joe and me?
Then you notice that you've interrupted a quiet conversation between Pietro and the Bat, clinging to his shoulder. Pietro and the both look at you and smile serenely.
I just realized, the truck's really only got room for 2. Never mind, see you soon. Both of you, I mean.
I guess the Bat's chatting him up. Josie, you got anything to say about this?
Hi, Jake.
Here's a...
No.
Do they use
I don't...
it?
That's why we don't use it. Here's my truck. Drive the truck. You jump into your truck, lean over and unlock the passenger side. Joe climbs in after you and navigates, pointing most of the time but jotting things down when necessary. You take the Northern State Parkway West and the Throngs Neck Bridge to the mainland, and then the 687 north to the Catskill Mountains. About 2 hours after leaving Callahan's, Joe directs you to pull over at the side of the road. I guess look at the ground. You examine the hard pan. The soil is thin and rocky and probably to be expected this close to the mountain. There's no conceivable way to dig through it with anything less than major earth-moving equipment. Joe's fashionable wear-one knapsack sits in the truck's bed. Let's take it. You might as well open it up. It's got stuff in it. Hooray! Have a look here. We've got a fence. Fence appears to be standard chain link, but also it says high voltage, so we're not going to try climbing it. Great idea. How are you going to get to it? Good question. What was that about boat? Oh, beat around the bushes. Beat around the bushes. You start to beat around the bush. Then you decide you take care of that later. Right now you've got some important procrastinating to do. I do have some wire cutters. This looked like a good place to cut. You bring the wire cutters close to the fence and stop. Uncertain, you draw back and toss the wire cutters at the fence. It sparks wildly for a moment and falls to the ground. You pick it up, it's hot for a couple of seconds, and heave a sigh of relief. You should try to get the guard out of the guardhouse if you want to go there. Well, what about if I send Joe? Give Joe to the guard. There's a guard in the guardhouse from your position. You don't think he's likely liable to see you or Joe. Till you come up with a plan? Oh, maybe I should talk to Joe. Question mark?
What have you observed about this place?
Didn't spend much time here.
So there's a chance he's not even here anymore.
Joe's face slackens. He taps his pencil against the pad nervously.
If so, there's nothing to be done about it. Let's assume he's still in there.
After a few moments, Joe slowly nods his assent.
Now's a good time to pull out that big old plan you were working on for this.
Maybe I can distract the guard. You can check out the guardhouse.
And then?
See the fence is on. See if there's a way to turn the security fence off without it being obvious.
Okay, how are you going to distract the guard?
Joe pulls the camera out of his pocket and winks at you. He starts off towards the guardhouse, stops, and comes back to your position.
Did you forget something?
Joe reaches into his pocket a second time, pulls out his keys. On the key ring is a small, slender silver whistle. He twists it off the keychain and presses it into your hand.
This. What is this?
It's a dog whistle. Ralph gave it to me, his whistle, just in case.
Shouldn't you keep it?
But Joe's already gotten back to his feet and walks to the guardhouse. He walks near the guardhouse and begins to snap off flash photos. The guard immediately walks out of the guardhouse and approaches Joe, who backs away, taking the guard further and further from the booth. Finally, he stops backing away. He probably has the guard sufficient enough detail from the guardhouse for you to sneak in and out if you're cautious. Let's be cautious then. Okay, let's see while we're here. Wires. Pull the wires. Pulling on the wires would probably cut power to the panel. The guard would undoubtedly notice this on his return and raise an alarm. If you want to disable the panel, it would be best if you could do so without causing any obvious damages. Changes to what the guard normally expects to see. Can we open his bag? You gently open the bag, and your face is enveloped in a steamy cloud infused with the smell of euros and fries. Or as we would know them, souvlaki's. With a entrepreneur that could only... If some entrepreneur could only create a woman's perfume with that particular aroma, there are many women whose husbands would take them to bed more often. You gently reclose the bag and fold over the top to the appropriate angle when you began. The guard might be really, really anal. Ah, the screws. I've got my pocket knife. Using the Phillips screwdriver to the left of the main blade and parallel to the corkscrew, you quickly remove the 4 screws from the 4 ends of the panel. You remove this open. We've got... hang on. Can you put it back on for a moment? Okay, so we want to turn this one off. Oh, hello, Dee. Okay, so now that we've done that, you switch the fence off. Okay, so if we look at this, what thinks the EMF alarm is off? Is that what I want? Or do I want to do all of them? Oh, what about, hang on, first, if I switch these from top to bottom? That? Oh, switch with, there we go, red switch. Okay, so then if I turn them all off, they'll look correct. And then I want to screw it back into place. And that should be it. So it all looks on. Peeking out from your kneeling position inside the guardhouse, you see that Joe and the guard are still playing keep away with the camera. You take the opportunity to dodge back out and into the bushes. The next thing you know, you hear the guard utter a cry of victory from your concealed position. You see the guard holding the camera aloft and away from Joe's grabbing hands. The guard pops the camera open and pulls out the film, turning his body constantly to fend off Joe. Joe sags in the pretense of defeat as the guard hands him back his camera. Its back still hanging open. Joe trudges off the road and the guard goes back to the guardhouse and watches Joe recede into the darkness. Joe walks past you without acknowledging you, goes past the track, and even walks further down the road just to make sure the guard can't see him anymore. 5 minutes later, he sneaks back to you. Hello, Joe.
Excellent.
What a jerk. Does he think a photographer only carries one roll of film? Yes, he does. Because he is an idiot. Now I'll use my wire cutters to this. You can't... No, I'm not putting them. I want to cut the fence. Here we go. What is film? Oh, yeah. You bring the wire cutters close to the fence and just to make sure you toss the wire cutter at the chain links. No sparks are produced. You pick up the wire cutters and snip around the semicircle, eventually making a good-sized opening. Reminding Joe that he should have the truck waiting for you when you return, you gingerly pick your way through the sharply snipped chain link, keeping low to the ground. You dodge from tree to bush to tree, trying to get a little closer to the mountain each time without the guard spotting you. The dark of night may provide cover, and eventually you come just a few feet of the mountain. Breathless from the exertion of running in a low crouch, you come to rest in a small thicket of scrub near the side of the front entrance. The massive door set into the mountain looms to your left. To your right is the scaffolding. There is a narrow corridor between them. You begin to... If you were to wander out of that corridor, you'd be quickly spotted by the guard. I see.
I swear!
Well, we've done an hour of Callahan, so I think we're going to swap over to Control now. We are, I'd say about... maybe a third through this scenario, and it's the second last mission, so yes, we're getting there. It's probably got another 2 streams maybe, because from what I remember the last one isn't a very long one.